Hi, I'm Candace, and welcome to I Am Not a Doctor, where I am not a medical professional. But I love sifting through the science so you don't have to. In this video, I am going to create your sober cruise survival guide. There could be lots of reasons why you choose not to drink. Maybe you're pregnant, maybe you're taking a break from alcohol, maybe you're healing, or maybe you're just sober curious. For me, adjusting to vacations while choosing not to drink alcohol was sometimes frustrating, and it took a lot of retraining my brain to see what I actually wanted to get out of the vacation and not just what everyone else was doing. If you're thinking about going on a cruise and ditching the alcohol, stick around. Travel, I would say, is literally what brought my husband and I together. Aside from the fact that I'm very persistent at going after what I want. So when I started my health journey, one of the first things I did is cut back on my drinking. It was just such a habit I had created, especially on vacations. I would wake up and have a mimosa or an Irish coffee because vacation. I would have some rosé at lunch. Pre-dinner, obviously, I need a drink at the hotel while I'm doing my hair and makeup. Dinner, I would normally get a gin martini. And then dessert, I would get an espresso martini. And I wouldn't drink like this on a typical day, but I find that when we travel, we make excuses that every moment we should be taking advantage of all of the things. We've also been brainwashed to believe that no matter what activity we're doing, it would be better with alcohol. It's actually quite challenging to find excursions, parties, or course dinners that don't automatically include alcohol with your ticket purchase. I started looking back at our trips though, and I remember actually not remembering a lot of the details. I would also be pretty exhausted at about day 3 and never really felt like getting up and exploring the cities that I was in. My stamina for travel was non-existent, and I also felt crappy. I was bloated, and I looked like I'd been drinking for a week straight at the end of it, because I have been. I realized that not only for my health, but for experiencing the places I was going, I needed to change what I consumed on the trips, and so I decided to stop drinking. This really opened up a whole new perspective of what a vacation could be for me, and I felt just as good starting the trip as I did when I returned. And bonus, I also remembered all of the photos that I was in. Okay, so let's start with preparation. This is going to be super helpful in your success, especially when cruising. I would say your shorter cruises, like 3 to 4 days, especially to somewhere tropical, are really going to be focused on booze and party. It's not that you can't do these sober, you're just going to have to realize a lot of the atmosphere and people around you will not be sober. I personally like to opt for longer 5 to 7 day cruises and to unusual destinations. I also research the boat, and I try to make sure there's some sort of gym or fitness area. Some smaller riverboats are not going to have this as an option, so I have to pack a few small items with me to get a room workout in. But if you're doing an ocean cruise, I feel like a gym is a must. If you can incorporate a short morning workout in, even if it's just walking on the track before breakfast, you're going to feel more on track with your normal routine, and morning exercise is actually one of the fastest ways to adjust to a new time zone. I also review the drink packages on the boat, and since I'm not drinking alcohol, I don't need to spend the money on the alcohol package. But I will spend the money to have unlimited specialty coffee and sparkling water. This also makes it easier because I can order these things in any area on the ship. You're also going to want to pack some things with you to make your sober cruise a little more enjoyable. I bring Element tea packets so I can have some flavored water at dinner if I feel like it, but you can bring whatever flavor packets you prefer. These are great to pop into sparkling water, and if you drink juices, you can add a splash of lemon or lime for a fun mocktail. I'll also pack some things I might not do on a regular basis at home to pamper myself, because that's also going to be a component of sober cruising. It's about nurturing my body in different ways. So I might pack some little eye masks, a small body scrub, single-use hair masks, and any other fun small spa items. Speaking of mocktails, what are you gonna drink? Well, you have your normal NA bevs, soda, juice, tea. I'm always gonna advocate for as little sugar as possible, but I want this to be helpful for anyone on any path who is trying to cruise sober. If you have to drink soda to not drink a martini, then I'm gonna support you in that. I find that with beverages, I just want something fun when everyone else is drinking fun drinks. This might look like getting a Virgin Bloody Mary, orange juice with soda water instead of champagne, a mocktail at a show, or a a pre-club espresso to give you a buzz and get you ready for a party. You can also get an Italian drink called a shakerato, which is essentially iced coffee shaken with sugar. I would opt for espresso shaken with a sugar-free vanilla syrup or a stevia packet to get the same flavor minus the sugar. If you have them serve it in a martini glass, then no one knows you aren't drinking a traditional espresso martini. Let's dive into what we're gonna do on a sober cruise. I love, love, love to do all of the activities. I'm essentially on a floating resort or exploring a new exciting country, so I want to take advantage of all of that. Something I will also spend money on, since I'm not spending it on alcohol, is a pass to the day spa for the duration of my trip, as well as spa services. For me, adding in things like a massage or a facial makes me feel like I'm on vacation, and after exploring all day, it can be a really nice welcome rest. This particular ship had amazing amenities, and having the spa package was worth every penny. They had a dry sauna with an amazing view, a steam room, which I know is a little grainy, but it was massive. This is a great place to give yourself a body scrub. They also had cold water buckets, so you could do hot and cold therapy, and a huge hot tub that had jets to massage your whole body. Something else this ship had was a room with these heated chairs where you could look out at the really beautiful scenery. One evening when everyone wanted to hit the casino, I just spent the time in this room relaxing and catching up on my books. A space like this is where you would do your little spa items you pack so you could really pamper yourself. You should also take advantage of some of the on-ship lectures, movies, and shows. Typically, they will be about the region you are traveling, and it helps you to understand and appreciate more about the area. I absolutely love games and am slightly competitive, so you can normally find a solid board game selection and even some live game show options if you're on a bigger ship. There are actually lots of things happening that don't normally involve drinking. This trip, I took a floral arranging class and an art class, which was really neat and not something that I would have done at home. As you can see, I'm pretty proud of my jellyfish. Enjoying entertainment can also be enjoyed sober. Almost every boat has some sort of show, trivia, or live music happening. I find it really helpful to look at the next day's schedule, which is normally in your room the night before, and circle what I want to do and build my daily itinerary around that. I also make sure to do some of the excursions in the ports. I find that since I'm not drinking, I can do excursions that are a little more adventurous and also that happen earlier in the morning because I won't have issues waking up. I opt for things that don't include alcohol as part of the experience because I want to enjoy everything I'm paying for. So instead of a picnic that includes wine, I would opt for a bike ride or dog sledding. Some of the challenges most people experience is a fear of missing out. At a certain point in the evening, I am ready to be done, and that timeline is normally a little earlier than my friends. I used to feel like I was going to miss out on some amazing story or experience by calling it earlier than the group. But I realized that those stories normally just involve someone doing something insane or embarrassing or taking a trip to the unlimited ice cream bar, which I certainly don't need to do. A big part of succeeding is communicating with your vacation group that you are choosing to do this trip sober and owning it in a way that doesn't feel like you've created a victim mentality around it. When you own your decision not to drink and show people that you can still, in fact, have fun while not being wasted, it's actually contagious. I've had so many people say they are going to not drink at an event for a night because I also wasn't drinking. And no one has ever said, I really wish I had gotten that bottle of wine. Normally, even if it's not something they want to incorporate all the time, they realize that they can start doing it little by little. So this is my survival guide for sober cruising. The cruise line in this video was Holland America, but there are a lot of great options out there. If you are not ready to do an entire cruise sober, try doing every other day sober. Try filling your day with other activities, and you may find that you don't need the alcohol to fill your time. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever vacationed sober. I'm especially interested in your stories of transitioning from drinking to not drinking and what that was like for you. If this was helpful, please subscribe to my channel. Remember, you are in control of your health. It just might take changing everything you thought you knew to get to where you want to be.